Breaking the chain, feeling the gain, now I'm rising. Open the gate, never too late, no hiding. Wings open wide, trusting my God, ready to take off, ready to take off. Someday, I know I'm moving in the right way. Oh, one day, I keep praying, I keep praying.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of FaithfulFin Talk. I'm your host, Wantrell Levette, and today is episode 55. Our title for today is A Mother's Truth, Grace, Struggle, and Still Standing, Raw and Unfiltered. Today is a little special for me because I have somebody that's here with me. So welcome all of you guys here to FaithfulFin Talk. You know how we do it here. This is real stories, real scripture, and real growth. Today, this might be the realest one yet because I'm not here to paint a perfect picture. I know what you guys see. Like I say, it's always pretty, but everything is pretty. It's not gold. So today I'm here with my mother, someone that I love very much dearly, but also someone that I struggle to understand, someone that I've struggled to forgive, and someone that I struggled to let into my life again. If you're new here, I need you to know my mom is still fighting her addiction. And her addiction doesn't mean that she's still using. She's fighting a battle that she don't really talk about, that she didn't get to tell her side of the story. And so today is a really special thing for her. I posted a video of my mom back in 2020 for the first time on my social media, and I asked the entire world to pray for her.
Something.
It was really special. The entire world reached out, and they sent abundant of prayers for my mom. I will insert the clip of the video that I posted of my mom when I first asked for these prayers. I didn't know how viral that video would go. I didn't understand what I was putting out into the universe. But I asked God for a favor, and I asked him if I should share my story with the world. I personally haven't fought addiction, but I fight things all the time. I come from a childhood that wasn't glitter and gold. And if you're like me or anything like me, you fight and you have struggle. Thank you, Chris. Let me teach you. Sorry, guys. I'm a little teary, but it gets real over here. And this is how real it is because this is a special episode for me. And so I want you guys to really see my vulnerability and how I stand firm in my walk. So again, like I said, if you're anything like me, come from any type of background like me or any type of family like me, my situation, then you know how hard it is when somebody is fighting something that's hurting them, whether it's abuse, whether it's drugs, whether it's being homeless, poverty, doesn't matter. So seeing my mom and her addiction, seeing my mom still fighting to survive, I constantly ask God, what is it that you want me to do and how you want me to show up? Because there's no way that I can do your job. I can't do the Lord's job. But I could use my mouth and I can send out prayers every day, constantly, up into the universe, up into the Creator, up into the God that I serve. And I can ask him every day to help me with this struggle and help me with my mom. So that's what I did. In 2020, I posted a video and it went completely viral, like I said. I'm going to insert a clip so you guys can see the video of what I'm talking about.
Pictures of me. Do not do it.
Do not do what?
Do not do it.
Do not do what?
Do not do it.
Do not do what?
Do it. Do it then.
Yeah, I did it.
Don't do that shit.
I did it. Look at you. Girl, look at you. Where you going?
I'm going to hell.
Hell, why would you want to go there? Why would you want to go there? Huh?
You taking me there?
I'm taking you there? No, I'm going to have
H-A-L-E.
H-A-L-E? That is not how you spell it.
That's how you spell it.
Girl, look at you. You too pretty to be like this. Don't you want to get your shit together?
No.
You too cute to be looking like this, mama.
So what?
What you mean, so what?
So what?
That's
You
not
put me on
cool.
blast, calling me out my name.
I would not call you out your name. I called you a beautiful black queen.
No.
Regardless of what drugs you on. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what you are. I called you a beautiful black queen. Yeah, beautiful black queen. Look at you. Look at you. Okay.
But yes, this kind of brought me back to the ground zero that I was talking about, trying to make my way up out of understanding just where I come from. You guys sent crazy prayers and you guys all reached out to me. And at the time I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk to my mom about her story and stuff. But guess what, you guys, I never got around to it. No, because I was still fighting my battle. I was still understanding where God was walking with me at. I mean, where I was walking with God at and what God was doing with me in the time that I had to share with my mama. So she's here with me and she's been here in Vegas. And it's not just my podcast. It's our living room. It's our space. And this is our real. So Mom, thank you for doing this. I know there's no easy way for you to talk about what you're going through, but you are here. You showed up. That's something that people don't really see and they can't talk about, right? So let's just talk. No judgment, no edits, unless we mess up, but just the truth, okay? This is real, you guys. This is raw and unreal. I haven't asked my mom any questions. I haven't shown her anything or, I was just like, Mom, we're going to do episodes because I feel like now it's time for her to tell her story. So Mom, let's get all the way real for the podcast. Get all the way real for me, yourself, and anybody that has to listen. There are people who would never let their mother in after all the pain, the relapses, the street life, the struggle. Why do you think I let you in? Do you feel you deserve a second chance?
Well, yes, I think everybody deserves a second chance because if they have faith in God or whatever, everybody needs a second chance because it's not easy. It's not easy, especially growing up how I did or growing up where I came from. But to be here and still alive and still breathing, yes, I think everybody deserves a second chance.
Now, wrap back to the first question that I asked of you. Why do you think I let you in?
Because you're my daughter and you love me. And I love you too. And I think because we both had some issues before, especially growing up, to where now we have to really get past the past and grow into just being there for each other more, loving each other more, doing what God would want us to do. I like being a family.
And that's why you think I let you in?
Mm-hmm.
That's your perspective?
That's my perspective.
Okay.
It's just,
So as you guys heard my mom's perspective of why she think I let her in, and I'm going to share with you guys the reason why I let her in. On this journey and this walk with God, it has not been something that I've glamorized, but I've taken initiative to know that it's not going to be an easy thing, but I need to understand the struggles of my childhood. So struggling with my mom and where we come together at, mind you, my mom is 15 years older than me. She gave birth to me at 15 years old. And so that's not really a big gap to close in for somebody to really parent somebody. So she did have me at a really young age. But the reason why I let my mom in is because I needed to heal my inner child. The inner child in me that questioned, where's my mom? What's going on with my mom? Why is she not here? So the adult me, as I started to walk with Christ and started to align myself with God's words, I needed to touch in with the root of who I was. And that's because I come from my mom. I wanted to let her in. And I didn't let her in completely because, trust me, it's been a struggle. But that's my reason of why I let her in. So, Mom, tell people in your own words, what is PCP addiction actually like? First, tell them what the drug is.
It's a hallucinant downer. It's kind of like it's a kind of hard. It's addiction that I wouldn't like force it on anyone, because it's really like it's kind of hard to like shake. But with God work and everything, is a lot of things is curable, you know. We pick up addictions because we want to. It's not because it's forced on us, because everybody has a choice, you know. We make good choices, sometimes we make bad choices. A lot of times we make a lot of bad choices because sometimes they override the good choices.
Understanding, but we don't want to go off the topic of what is PCP addiction actually like? Mentally, physically, and emotionally. What does it do to you?
Well, in the beginning, it done a lot of things to me, you know.
Like?
What? A lot of things that I have forgot in my childhood. It kind of made me remember certain things that I blocked out because it's an enhancer, hallucinant drug. A lot of things that I blocked out when I was a kid, and then seeing my mother go through what she was going through, I kind of started to remember a lot of things that I had kind of like psychiatrically like blocked out of my whole mind. So it's really hallucinant. It's like I said, it's a hallucinant drug.
So do you hallucinate when you're using that drug?
It's a lot of times when you're coming down off of it. I mean, when you're coming down off of it, you kind of have like what they call setbacks or withdrawals. And you kind of like, if you did like as long as I did, sometimes you get the cravings. It's just like when you smoke, because I smoke cigarettes, and because it's used, you can only use it to smoke a cigarette. You have to use it with a cigarette. It was kind of hard to kick. So, but I had to do a lot of rehabilitation. I had to go to mental health.
Well, we're not that far yet.
Okay. Well,
so as far as PCP, when did you start using that drug?
At the age of 23.
At the age of 23 was your first time
that, yeah.
And who introduced you to that drug?
Partying, just out at a party, friends, well, cousins, like relatives, like that grew up with me, being at these functions, and actually when I started dancing in the club too, so that kind of like made me kind of like block off the things of being an exotic dancer.
But who gave you the drug? Who introduced you to the drug? Your cousin, Arletris.
My cousin, Arletris, yeah.
So your cousin, Arletris, introduced you to the drug PCP. For those of you who are listening, PCP stands for phenycycline. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that word. It's an illegal street drug known for its mind-altering and hallucinogenic effects. It is classified as a dissociative drug because it distorts perceptions and makes users feel detached from their surroundings. Does that sound pretty much familiar?
Yes.
Growing up, watching my mom on PCP, my mom is the oldest of 7 kids. She had me at the age of 15. I am the oldest of 5 kids. Watching my mom on PCP was very mental abuse for me to see that, to anybody to see that. So when I say my story is not glitz and gold, it's not. I watched my mom struggle with this addiction, and as a young girl, to look up to the only woman that you have to try to look up to, you ask yourself, is this gonna be me too? Is this gonna be my life? But God said no. So struggling to understand her PCP addiction is one of the reasons why I didn't have her into my life, because obviously the drug was taking over her. It's been 5 years, and we've been on an emotional roller coaster. And the first time I posted her video was literally 5 years ago, and she was still using. Like she said, she battles with it all the time. So what is a day in your life on the street when you're not with me?
Well, actually, I just take it one day at a time. I try to just stay more focused. I try to stay away from a lot of bad surroundings, and I try to avoid a lot of verbal and physical abusive people. I kind of I alienated myself. I separated myself from those type of friends that I thought they were my friends, and they weren't my friends, because anytime a person offers you drugs, and they're not your friends. So sometimes I have to really stay focused and just stay away from those type of people, so.
But what is a day in your life on the street?
Typically, it's just a normal day. I just take one day at a time. I try to keep myself busy, especially when I'm in California and in LA. I try to keep myself, make all my appointments, keep myself busy, stay, I still go to some meetings. I still seek counseling. I still, just basically just try to stay amongst most of the positive side than instead of the rough side. But it's still hard. I'm still battling, because sometimes I can run into that one maybe guy that I used to date or something, or, so it's a struggle. Every day's a struggle, but I try to fight it with God.
So you guys, PCP was initially developed as an intravenous anesthetic in the 1950s, but was discontinued for human use due to adverse side effects like agitation, delusions, and hallucinations. It is still used as an animal tranquilizer. That should let you know how strong that drug is. The appearance in it is pure form. PCP is a white, crystalline powder with a bitter chemical taste, soluble in water or alcohol. It's often found in illicit markets as a powder or liquid, sometimes mixed with leafy materials like marijuana or tobacco for smoking. The usage of PCP can be snorted, smoked, injected, or swallowed. Smoking is a common method where it's applied to materials like mint, parsley, oregano, or marijuana. So you said when you're using the PCP, you use it in a cigarette form?
Yes.
So obviously your PCP that you were using was in the liquid form.
Right. I never seen powder. I never seen what powder looked like. I only knew what the liquid looked like. That's the only type I ever used.
And how was your childhood growing up as a young woman growing up in the early 70s with your parents? Were they on drugs?
Well, yes. That's where I seen it from. My dad was struggling with his addiction, mainly. I never see my dad do PCP, but I did see my mom do PCP. And back then, they were really doing the pills. Pills was like the thing to do back then. I seen a lot of different pill use. So, there was a lot of, in both sides of my family, which was was struggling from different addictions. So,
Okay, so both your parents struggled from addictions.
right.
So you basically had an honest to see drugs in your lifetime.
Yes.
Sounds pretty familiar for a lot of people that grew up in the 70s and 80s around that time. Drugs obviously was a big thing in that time, which they still are today. There's no judgment on people that does drugs. It's just how you do them, and allowing them to take over you obviously can affect you and other people in ways that cause issues. For you, when did you first lose your children because of the drug?
I was in my 20s, about the middle 20s. It was like actually, it started from because before I got addicted to PCP, I was using marijuana, and I was really on marijuana a lot. You know, that was my first addiction before I upgraded to the PCP. So I was a single parent. I always had my own place. I try to keep my kids. I tried to protect him just as much as I could as a young single parent. And I just did a lot of marijuana, and then I got ended up having to take a test, and it came out dirty from marijuana. So that's the first time that DCF came into my life.
Okay. So DCF showed up in your life. You were in your early 20s. Mm-hmm. At the time, you were addicted to marijuana.
Right.
You had a dirty test. Mm-hmm. DCF came and felt you were kind of not suitable.
Well, they just said that I needed help and I needed to get into a program. And that's when I called my family and asked them to help me with what I was going through, as far as, because they didn't take you guys right away. It's just because I didn't feel that I had a problem.
Right.
I'd never been in a program before, so getting into a program was kind of like, I was into a program where people were on. I was maybe the first person in the class was just on marijuana. It was people that was on cocaine, heroin. The first time I ever heard about what's that? Crystal meth. I never knew what that was. And I was about the only person and maybe this one other guy that was in there for marijuana. So they were looking at me like, why is she in the groups? She's only on marijuana, but marijuana was not illegal then. It was a drug. It was considered a drug. It was considered abusive. So,
but marijuana ended up turning into the real problem, which was the addiction problem of PCP.
Right.
Correct?
It was, yeah.
But marijuana is what started off of DCF getting in your business.
Right.
As a young
marijuana did.
mother.
Yes.
Okay. You said you were in your early 20s.
I was in my early 20s.
So I had to be around
you was
6
like
or 7.
You was like 7.
When I first encountered DCF, the system.
Because Robert was 5, you was 7. Yeah.
So yeah, young girl, young mom, 2 kids, struggling. It happens in life, you guys. It really does. So next question. I want you to be really honest with me and yourself and my community. Why did drugs win over your family for so long?
Well, I don't consider that they won. It won over my family. I didn't choose it. It just was something that that happened and what I was going through.
I think
I was also
wait. You can't say that you didn't choose something when we all have a choice.
I know.
So this is an honest space to not be in denial, to be telling the truth. Why did drugs win over your family for so long?
I don't know how to answer that right now, because
was there a moment you chose the high over your kids?
No, it was more than that. It was probably the man that I was involved with at the time too. So it was much more than just a drug. It was just, the relationships that I was in was a little bit not healthy. I was, just going through, I was going through my childhood too. So it was really kind of difficult for me. I didn't choose the drug. I just didn't know no better at the time. So I had to learn that what I was doing was affecting my family, affecting my kids. I had to learn through the program and getting help through mental health that I really had a problem before all this happened.
So you're saying that you had a mental problem before you claimed the drug chose you?
Yes, because I was battling something that I held inside of me for a long time, and that was the abuse of being abused as a kid.
Okay. So since you mentioned abuse and as a kid, why didn't you choose yourself and kids before choosing a man and drugs?
Well, like I said, because I was really young. I was a kid myself when I had kids. So I didn't have that normal childhood or child life. So basically, I grew up too fast. And I was really missing out on being a kid. I was still in high school on my second child. I was still struggling with, family members too, And I had to deal with a lot of issues that I blocked out, and I didn't want to talk about them because they were really scary things that happened to me in my child as a kid.
Like what? What are some of the things that happened to you as a kid?
Well, I was molested by my uncle.
You were molested by your uncle?
By my mother's brother, yes.
By your mother's brother?
Yes.
Still living to this day?
Yes.
Didn't go to jail?
He went to jail, but it was more of other things that he did.
But he didn't go to jail for what he did to you?
No.
And you're certain that this person molested you?
I know for a fact that I was molested. Not just by him, it was other men too, but he was the tick. He was the first one that started it.
How old were you when your mother's brother molested you? That's a pretty sensitive thing, because family will hear this and they would wonder which brother it is. We don't have to put any names on it.
They know now. All my family know now because my mother brought it out.
So your mother...
She didn't know what was happening because she was going through her addiction really bad back then. She was dealing with my dad and her other kid's father. So she didn't know, leaving us alone or leaving us at my grandma's house with this man or whatever. She didn't know that her brother would do something like this. But he was also struggling with a lot of things going on too, with heroin.
Is that an excuse?
No, it's not an excuse. It's just that he was a grown man. He knew. I kind of figured he knew what he was doing, but we were kids. We didn't know what was happening. I just, it was a shock. So that's why I kind of say, I blocked it all in. I didn't want to remember none of that stuff. And I kind of saved by my godmother and my grandmother, my dad's mom, who took me out of the environment and let me be a kid again. Because
at what age did you get molested?
I was 5 years old.
5 years old.
Maybe 4 or 5.
So 4 or 5 years old.
All the way up until I was 7, going on 7.
So a couple years
I was taken
it was
out
happening.
A few years, yeah, it was happening. A lot of times we and my cousin Sean, and it was happening to her too, but we wouldn't talk about it because we were scared. And it was almost like having a nightmare every night. I would have the same nightmare over and over again about this boogeyman that I couldn't escape from. And the thing was, my uncle, my mother's brother, it was just a terrible experience. And it had to do with the heroin and the PCP and the drugs that they were on. And that's what the excuse that they had, even as now as he got older.
So do you think in the certain family communities, certain where you come from, do you feel like a lot of families shelter family members that do pedophile things like molestations and touching on kids? Do you feel like that happens a lot in Black communities, Mexican communities, minority communities, or anybody's community, that people will shelter pedophiles and molesters when they are family members?
Of course. It happens as we speak right now. It happens to the worst thing. It really hurts when your grandmother doesn't believe you, and it takes your aunts to believe you. They knew they were mad. Once they found out, I think he ended up going to jail. They ended up him to getting arrested for almost something like that with a younger woman that was maybe about 16 or 17, but he was still a grown man. And so I think that's what triggered to let everybody know that what he was into. And then it was just certain things that I saw and grew up at. And when I was a kid, it was just really terrifying. And I think no children should have to go through that.
So basically, do you feel like your innocence was stolen?
Oh, they were definitely robbed. I didn't want to know about sex. I want to be a kid. We want to play with our dolls. We want to, go to elementary school right. We didn't want to have these monsters, these demons haunting us and terrifying us. Me and my cousins, sometimes we used to play the runaway game because we didn't want to be around that environment. So we was happy when godmothers and my grandmothers come take us away from that type of stuff.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I know I don't talk to you about it as much. I know you try to share this story with me about what happened to you, and even when it comes to protecting me as being your only daughter.
I was very overprotected with you.
How was that in a case of knowing what happened with you and you putting in that protection for me? Because by the grace of God, no one has ever touched me.
And that's because
I haven't ever experienced anything like that. I think
I'm gonna answer that too.
For the simple part that I'll be in jail. Honestly.
Well, I really I had made a pact with myself that I would never let this happen to none of my children. And I kind of protected you guys from that to the best that I can, to the best of my knowledge. And I just prayed on it that this one could never happen to none of my children. They would never go through. I'm kind of glad. I just want you to go through what I went through. And I kept it very simple, and I just protected. I just protected the best of what I can. I just made sure that I'm not going to let a child of mine go through what I went through. Even when it was times when I almost thought I couldn't protect you guys, I still fought my way in to try to do the best that I can to keep you guys from even going through that type of hell,
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. That's a big deal. Some people have judged me from the video that I posted of you. Some people will judge me for even this interview. Judgment comes in both forms, good and bad. I had people judge me and saying, thank you for loving your mama. And I had people also judge me and say, why are you putting her out there like that? What do you say to them people who have something to say?
Well, I wouldn't say nothing to them because I put my own self out there like that. I mean, it's nothing that you doing right now that I have not already done to myself, even worse, I've been in situations where I don't even think I should be. I didn't think I was going to be alive today, I put myself in predicaments where I don't know how I got out of it. It would have to be the grace of God that I have got out of certain things, But I wouldn't take back. The only thing I would probably take back is growing up to live to that little part of hell that I had grew up. But I don't take back even being born with my mom. You know, they've also had a struggle. You know,
but this is not about them.
I
It's
know,
about
but
you.
just having a life of what we had to go through. You know, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do it the exactly same, but I will, you know, try to make the corrections, you know.
What do you
about it.
say to families that's torn apart by addiction?
Well, it's always help out. We have more help now today than we did way back when I was growing up in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. I mean, we have solutions now. We have a lot of more resources now today because we didn't have DCF in our life back then. Well, it came into effect in the end. After I had you. Mm-hmm. That's when my mom got into DCFS, and they didn't have those people that will call them. You know, neighbors really stayed out of your business. You know, they didn't have all that until after you were born. You know, my mom actually, she didn't really get caught on like I did. Is that she knew that she was hitting rock bottom, so she admitted herself for 6 months in the mental hospital at St. Francis Hospital in Linwood. My mother did it for herself because she was sick and tired of what she was going through.
Okay. So DCF, CPS, these are all common names for Department of Child Services, Children Protective Services. These services companies came around fairly. It says Child Protective Service came about in 1825. So that was a long time ago, right? But then it says, was CPS a thing in the 70s? And it says Child Protective Services agencies were first established in response to the 1974 CAPTA. So sometimes in the 70s, you would say like DCF, CPS kind of start making known, or was they just not a big thing?
No, we would call them social workers because in the late 70s, when my mother was on government assistance, they had what they call social workers who would come visit your house just because you were on the government assistance. So they had to come see how you was living, how your kids were living, how they were dressing. Did you have food in the refrigerator? Was they in school?
Yeah.
A kid had to be in school because they wouldn't give you the assistance that you needed from the government if your child was neglecting school or getting beating or...
So systematic.
Systematic, right.
Systematically, in order to get government assistance, social service workers had to come out to view
visit
the home.
Right. So,
are you coming from a family that always used government assistance?
Not everybody, just
Was
most
your
of the
mom?
My mom did.
Was your dad?
No,
Your dad
my
worked?
dad
But
worked.
your mom was heavily...
Because she had other kids. When she,
It's
when
just
my,
a yes or no?
Yes, when they separated, yeah.
Yes or no? So she had government assistance
When she separated,
And
yeah.
was she the reason you also now receive government assistance with Social Security?
Well, she had a big part of it, yes. She did help me get that because when I was went to the mental health, she also knew more about my childhood of what happened to me more than I did.
Mm-hmm. So she felt like mentally you was not capable to function in the world, that government assistance would be beneficial for you to survive.
Well, she knew at some point I would need it because I was in denial on my mental status.
Okay.
So
have you ever had a job not talking entertainment? Have you ever worked for...
I had a part-time job. I did. It was
How long
for
ago was
furniture.
that?
Well, it was I think you were like maybe 2.
So very, very long ago.
Very long good time ago.
And
It was for a
ever
furniture
since
company.
then,
Yeah.
you've never had a job since?
Just dancing.
But
Just
so
that.
after dancing,
Oh,
have you
no.
ever had a job where you got paid a check?
Not a check, but maybe under the table.
Not under the table. A job
Yeah.
that you clocked in and went to work?
No.
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 Okay. So in Romans 5, where we talked about in a previous episode, Romans 5, chapter 5, verses 3-5, it says, suffering produces perseverance, character, and hope. Do you feel hopeful right now?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I feel that I conquered. Actually, I survived a very rough childhood and a young lady's hood. I survived a lot of obstacles that most people probably wouldn't have survived. You know, I've seen a lot of people that I knew I grew up with that's not even here today because they couldn't handle their life. They couldn't handle the ways of life of growing up with so-called bad parents or being in foster care. Or
so you feel hopeful right now, or are you just surviving?
I feel very grateful. As far as more than hopeful, I feel more grateful that I do have my health. I do have my mind straight. I can remember. I can think for myself. You know.
How long has it been since you felt like that? Grateful and clear mind.
I say after I got out of, I say about 30, when I was 36 on to now.
Well, that can't be possible because I have videos of you not in a clear mind.
Well, I probably was just out of that summer, but it was a lot of times that, you know.
But you're homeless.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
That's not by choice. It's just because.
Well, it has to be by choice because we all have a choice.
Well,
if you say you're not working, you haven't got a job. So we have choices. We can either do or we cannot. And you're choosing not. Do you think that is the reason why?
No, I feel that I'm trying to get back on my feet.
In what way?
It's a slow process, but I'm applying for different places. I'm applying, you know, myself to get another apartment. I might can't afford to live in a 1 or 2 bedroom with my fixed income. So I'm still relying on for the government help to assist me in certain ways.
Yeah. But is it working for you or not? Because it doesn't seem like it's working if you're at my house.
I just have to wait until see what happens. I mean, I can't predict the future. I can't predict what's happening. I call and see what my status is, and they telling me that I'm at the part where I'm almost there. Just hold on, you know. They're fixing on it, they're working on it, and that's all I can.
So this is real stories, y'all, and I really got to keep it real with you guys. I really do. She does not work. No. My mom does not work, and she doesn't want to work, and there's no waiting when it comes to being with me. And that's the reason why we're here today, is because she don't have the time to wait around and sit and wait for things. You have to initiate when you're going to take charge of your life and make the correct choices. When you know better, you do better. So it's unfortunately that still in a mental state, as you guys can hear my mom talk, that she's very grateful but not hopeful. Because that was the question. Are you hopeful for where you can go into, what life you can move into, what movement you can go into? Being grateful is saying, I'm grateful that somebody has let me in the door. Being hopeful is saying, I know for a fact that God is going to change my life if I wake up with God every day. That's a hope that we all need. So I'm struggling to understand or where I step in at. And I'm like, all right, God, this is too much for me. I don't want to be a part of this, because I'm okay with somebody being grateful, but I need somebody that's hopeful. Somebody that's going to take the initiative, someone that's going to step out and say, I'm not waiting for anybody to make choices and do things for me. I'm going to do them myself. So FaithfulFin Talk is me actually showing you guys, look, this is real. This is a real story. This is me growing up in your face. And in my growing up, you have to have real growth. You have to step out and say, I'm going to do this on my own. So the questions that I'm asking my mom, they're really personal to me, and they should really be personal to her to bring hope into her life. Not just being grateful, because anybody can be grateful when you let them in your door. When you open your door to somebody, of course they're going to be grateful. But how grateful will they be if they don't initiate hope in their life to be better than they were yesterday? That's a big deal. So when was the last time you really felt God?
Oh, well, I constantly feel God all
Or
the
do you
time,
ever feel
all the
like God
time.
forgot about you?
No. I never give up on my prayers. I never give up on God. It's not God's that's making me go through what I'm going through. God has always been the most merciful God that I grew up with in my life, to where, like I said, I'm grateful. I'm at peace while I'm still alive today, because, like I said, I saw my life go a long time ago, and I'm so grateful that God has saw fit to even let me be here. Even I've been shot, while I was carrying my child, and I know that was nothing but God that kept me alive. Then, that was another hurtful experience that I had to go through too,
So, I've heard you say things that you regret about me, about yourself, certain situations, especially when you're under the influence, when you're not in the right state of mind, even about your own life. I hear you talk a lot about your past and about your own life. Is there anything you need to say to your younger self today, or even to me, your daughter, right now?
Well, I just want to say, out of all, I'm sorry for a lot of things that I have put you through. I'm really thankful, and I'm at peace that where God put you right now. And I think that you really did a good job with growing up to be a nice, beautiful woman, and to love your kids more, be in your children's life the best that you can. And
what do you want to tell to your younger self?
to my younger self?
Yeah, maybe the 5-year-old girl that got molested. What would you say to her right now?
That you're going to make it. Through all that you're going through, that you're going to make it. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your life. Don't give up on being a kid. Because that's all she wanted to do was be a kid. And have that normal kid life, And when that's something so precious like that is robbed from you, you think the worst. Even I used to think the worst, like, why me? Why is it, why? I thought God did didn't love me. I thought God didn't care, But I'm a kid. I didn't know no better. I didn't, all the stuff that I heard about, well, God this and this, that, Jesus. Where was that? I felt that. Where was he at when that was happening to me?
And I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of people actually feel like, where is God? Where is this Jesus? Where is God? When something tragic has happened to them in their life, when you lose someone suddenly, when something disturbing happened in a family member or to you or anything, and you're asking yourself, where is God, right? What is God doing? What is he trying to show me or say to me? And for me to say to my community, that's what relationship with God looks like. is we don't have all the answers, and we don't know what's going to take place, and we don't know what's going to happen. But to know that God is very much present in our life and shows up exactly where we are, that helps us really take that choice and say, you know what, I'm going to get with God because I need to know what God is talking to me about. And that's what Livette Legacy is about. So on this podcast, we talk about legacy. I talk about creating Livette Legacy because I don't come from a legacy. Legacy is something you didn't leave behind. So what is you fighting for today?
More my freedom. I can say
You seemed pretty free to me. What is freedom that you don't have? You're not working. You're living right now under my roof for free.
Well, I'm not saying that type of freedom. I'm talking about like as far as like the experience of me being locked up.
You're not locked up.
No, not now.
So we're not talking about that because that's not now. What is you fighting for today? You can't fight for freedom because you're not in jail.
Well, basically, I'm just fighting. Really, I'm just trying to get back on my feet and fight for getting my place again. You know, being independent. You know, depending on myself. You know, depending on responsibility. That's what I'm fighting for. Just to be more responsible.
And what do you hope your story will say when it's all said and done?
Well, maybe it can help a person not to make the certain choices in their life. Maybe it can help someone look into their children when they're small, you know, try to be more, as far as more interacting with their siblings or coming to as being more positive, you know, role models, you know.
So we talked
because we need
molestation.
more positive role models right now today, you know.
So you hope your story would help somebody else in the long run.
Right.
So we talked today about molestation, and one of the persons that I like to listen to a lot is Joyce Myers, and she talks about the molestation that her dad occurred on her and how her mom turned a blind eye to it and how she struggled with that for so many years.
Yes.
Your molestation took place in a very young age for a short period of time. Do you feel at any point that in your adult age that you could have chose to not dwell in your molestation?
Well, I want to go back on that because even though it stopped there with that particular person, I still was fighting the same issues, but just not as vigorous as it was when I was 4, 5, and 6, and almost 7. Mm-hmm. Even when I became a developing young woman, I still had to face these things with men, with older men who looked at me differently because I was developing as a young woman at 12 and 13. I was filling out, and I was still having certain men in the family that was, I say, my auntie's so-called boyfriends, you know, who were in that mind state of being a pedophile, you know. I still had to grow up and to protect myself, even as a preteen, you know.
So a lot of negative things you're fighting in your head, a lot of demons.
Well, it was just a lot of issues that I went through growing up.
Right. So a lot of demons is what people would call it.
Yeah, you can call them demons.
Spiritual warfare. So let's just pause for a second. Do you ever wish you can take it all back, or do you see any purpose in the pain?
Of course, I wish I could take those days back. I mean, I can say I had two sides of growing up. I had a good side and I also had a bad side. Mm-hmm. But the only things that I really would like to take back is the bad parts, the really negative parts that was really so terrifying that I feel no child or no young woman should have to go through, period, even today. You know, so I wouldn't change giving birth to the children that I had, because those were my choices that I made to have those children. Because believe me, in between time, I got pregnant many of times, and I made a choice not to have those children. But I thank God for the children that I have today, because it kind of made me into the young woman that I am today too. You know, I really needed to learn a lot of responsibility. I really need to learn how to be, you know, even though I was a young mom, but I still had to be a grown mom too. You know, I had to raise some of my sisters and brothers growing up. You know, I had a lot of stuff put on me growing up. You know. So it's certain things that I will take back, but it's a lot of things that I wouldn't take back for the world, because a lot of times I really had a good time growing up. You know, I had, like I said, two different backgrounds. My godmother,
we don't
my
want to go into much detail about that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
it's okay.
Because it's still your story, it's your perspective, but there is also other sides of the stories. Me and my brothers can also have our side of the story of what we feel like take place too. So I'm going to just notate and say, Mom, there are days when I am extremely angry at you. There are days when I completely don't like you at all. Can't stand you, don't want to be around you. There are days when I fought you. Mm-hmm. Literally, we fought, we argued, and everything. So for you to be sitting here today with me is God's grace. It's nothing but God's grace. Mm-hmm. Because I am so angry at this woman next to me. Because there's a lot of things in my childhood that I didn't experience and I missed out on by just not having my mom. And I'm sure there's other people in the world who question, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did my mom or my dad have to fall short to this drugs or drinking or society, or why? You know, but at the end of the day, my walk with God, my relationship with God supersedes how angry I will want to be at you. It overflows into my anger, and it brings me calm and peace. Because they say, honor thy parents, so your days can live longer. So me honoring you by having you here tell your story is me saying, God, I see what you did here. But that's still not my responsibility. I can't do what God can do for you. I can't tell your side of the story for you or confess to God what needs to be changed or your choices, if that makes sense, right?
All right.
But here we are, still breathing, still hoping. I know she don't have hope, but I do. Still praying. So just know, even all of my disappointments, I still want to see you win. That's been a huge thing for me. So I would like to thank you for being honest, even when it hurts, even if it's your side of the story. This isn't just a podcast. This is two women, two generations fighting for a different ending. So to anybody listening, don't turn away from the mess. God meets us in the middle of it. Next episode, we'll talk about healing, forgiveness, and what recovery actually looks like when you're still in the fight. FaithfulFin family, this is real life. This is my story. This is huge for me. So I'm going to close it off with a prayer. And I'm going to say, God, we're messy. We're hurting. But you promise that nothing is wasted, not our pain, not our past, not even our worst day. Cover every parent, every child, every family in this fight. Give us strength to keep showing up and remind us even in our lowest moments, that we are still yours. Amen.
Amen.
So for all of you guys who like to join us in this conversation, if this conversation has blessed you, please subscribe, share, and join the Faithful Fin Talk community. Follow and connect with us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, website, Levette Legacy Living in Wealth, FaithfulFinTalk.com, podcast, FaithfulFinTalk.com. Obviously, it's on Buzzsprout, but you can find it anywhere. Join the newsletters, drop your testimonies, DM us. You are a part of this story. Let's keep building legacy together. I would like to thank you for walking with me. Thank you for growing with me. And until next time, you guys, this is Faithful Fin Talk, real stories, real scripture, and real growth. See you.
Breaking the chain, feeling the gain, now I'm rising. Open the gate, never too late.